Good morning, students. So now we are progressing rapidly in this very beautiful, very technological, very interesting for me, and at the same time, such a subject which adds great value to your profile. In fact, it helps you develop your logical base and it is based on many techniques. That is why I use the word technological. It does not mean technological in the sense of using any type of technology, but this subject is technological because it develops logic of business. And when you will proceed in your career, you will find that once your career shapes, you will come to a position where you would be making decisions for your clients if you are in some company, corporate, and at a position you would be called upon regularly to take various decisions relating to the business. And at that time, the logics which shape these businesses is very, very important. If you have developed those business logics, in that case, your decisions, your suggestions would be adding great value to the business and hence obviously adding great value to your profile, to your career. So that is why I always say that when it is about subject like cost and management accounting, you should, besides the exam, have a special focus on this subject, especially the techniques, the logics that we are studying in this particular subject. So students, let me start. Yes, Divya, yeah. No, it was, I think, anyways, I was logged out because of this. Fine. So students, I want you all to be ready with your calculators, with your notebooks, because this topic, which is more calculation driven than the previous two, material and labor. So we will be starting with calculation upfront. But as a regular practice, let me first take up your questions, queries. So students, please let me know if there are queries relating to any of the previous topics or any conceptual part which now you are coming across and facing. Let me know, students. Students, no questions on any topics till date? Any concept, any particular theory concept? or any practical concept where while solving, while practicing, you found any type of problem, please do share. I'll take up that first. And in the meantime, I want everyone to be ready with their gadgets, calculators, pen, notebooks. No queries, it seems. Okay then. So students, now we are in a topic which I believe has a very critical role in the subject of costing. Rather, I'll say in the practice of costing. Now see, what is costing? Now when we prepare the cost sheet, we have to firstly identify what are the expenses. Remember our dinner example. And then we classify those expenses for the purpose of costing into material, labor expense, and then into direct and indirect. Now, all these can be easily traced, can be easily identified with your product, with your service of which you are doing costing. हिंदी में मैं कहूँ तो ये जो आपके खर्चे हैं जिसे हम डायरेक्ट मटेरियल, डायरेक्ट लेबर, डायरेक्ट एक्सपेंसेस कहते हैं, इसे डायरेक्ट इसीलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि आप ये इजीली देख सकते हो, आप इजीली मेजर कर सकते हो कि मेरे इस प्रोडक्ट में, मेरे इस सर्विस में ये खर्चा कितना लग रहा है. एग्जाम्पल, when we are talking about material, in material you will find Ishwarya, ABC analysis you are saying. Yes, so ABC analysis is a concept, beta. Questions are asked very rarely, so that is why we also understood it more as a conceptual point. Though they may ask you questions, but majorly you'll find one question in the module, which is a very simple one, Ishwarya. So don't worry, you will find one or two sums when you practice from the past exam questions, or not even past exam questions. I think in MTPs and RTPs you will find one, right? Okay. So coming back to the point, we are able to easily measure, easily calculate how much expense is done on these. How? See, when I talk about material, direct material, it mainly will include the raw materials. You identify the quantity, how much will be required in this particular product. Like in case of dinner, you can measure how many grams of rice you would be using, how many grams of dal you would be using, how much quantity of oil, how much quantity of a particular vegetable you are using. That quantity multiplied by price, which we calculated by the mother formula. Similarly, when it comes to labor, you have to find out the hours, which if you remember, we had called it as booked. Again, which we measure by making a note of how you are spending your time and again charging it by the multiplying it by the charging price, same calculated by the mother formula. And then direct expenses, which are like something like royalty, which is generally paid on the basis of your final product output only. So it is units of final product multiplied by the royalty which you have to pay per unit. So this is how you will be charging these costs, and you will reach to the prime cost, which is a total of all direct. Now, when it comes to overheads, overheads is what? Total of all indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expense is called as overheads. When it comes to overhead, students, for the purpose of better control, for the purpose of better cost reduction, and for the purpose of better charging, in a manufacturing scenario, we divide it into three categories. Now, how do we charge it? We charge it in cost sheet. We add it in cost sheet again by the same logic how we are doing it. We multiply it by the charging price, and we need something which is over here called as a base. What is a base? We'll understand this. This is charging price, again calculated by the similar mother formula which we studied. The only difference is This charging price is now called as ORR. What is ORR? You'll understand. For the time being, just hear me out. So, same format. How you have charged the direct cost, you will also charge the indirect costs, which are called as overheads. So it will be base multiplied by the charging rate, which is called as ORR. Base multiplied by the charging rate, which is called as ORR. Now, what we have to understand and also start calculating is this ORR, that is the charging price, or here ORR. Now, how this is calculated, I always use this word mother formula, mother formula. Why? Because this formula is common in entire costing. Whatever you do in costing is based on this formula. And since it is based on the same formula is applicable everywhere. Hence, it is, I at least call it as mother formula, because one logic originates all the other formula. That is why that logic, that concept is the mother formula. How do you find out this charging price? Now see, whatever overheads you want to charge in the cost sheet, you need the charging price, which is called as overhead charging rate. Same charging price or charging rate. It is also called as overhead recovery rate and hence ORR. And it is also called as overhead absorption rate. So all these three terms are used for the charging price. You can call it as overhead charging rate, overhead absorption rate, overhead recovery rate. Most common is this term used. Hence, for charging price of overheads, we will use the word ORR. Now, how it is calculated? Same by the mother formula. In the numerator, you have to take the total cost and most important denominator. Firstly, what is the total cost? Now, in case of overheads, in the numerator, if you remember students, material and employee, what we did in material, in the numerator, we took all expenses which were incurred relating to material, like the material purchase cost, then the transport cost, handling cost, storage cost, everything we added in the numerator. Same thing when we calculated or understood the charging price of labor, what we did is in the numerator, we added all expenses relating to labor. So it was the main basic payment to labor, then the bonus, then the commission, then all the perquisites, that is the facilities given, and also the statutory payments. Similarly, when we have to charge overheads, what we will do in the numerator, we will add all expenses of overheads. Now again, overheads are what? They are indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expense. If I have to give you real examples, because these are technical words for you, so simply go to your accounting P&L, leave trading part, because trading part is mainly direct material, direct labor, direct expense. You come to the P&L part. In the P&L, whatever expenses you are seeing, all are indirect. Like you have salary, which is indirect labor. You have depreciation, you have rent, you have light bill, you have the administration expenses, management expenses, all these are indirect expense. And then if your machine requires some oil, some grease, all these are indirect material. Now, for the purpose of costing, this charging of overheads is done in three parts. So we segregate the overheads into overheads required in factory, that is for manufacturing or production. Hence it is called as production overheads or manufacturing overheads or even factory overheads. Then those overheads which are required for managing the business, running the business. So these are called as administrative overheads, office overheads, or even management expenses. And then those overheads that are required for making the product saleable, like advertising, marketing, and making the product available to the customer's place. That is what is distribution, which will include all your go down maintenance costs, all expenses on transporting the goods to the customer. All these are examples of selling and distribution. So what we do is we categorize all our indirect expenses, like firstly our indirect material labor overheads, expenses are combined and called as overheads. So in short, total of your P&L is overheads. Then you bifurcate it into three categories out of this, which are for factory, which are for administration, which are for selling. And then when you make a total of all the expenses for factory, that becomes production overheads, all the expenses for management, and all the expenses for advertising and all. Now these figures you will take here in the numerator. So in the numerator, what you have done, you have taken total of all the expenses which are indirect, which are incurred for production. So this will become your estimated production overheads. Same thing you will do for your administration. So we have to calculate the charging rate even for administration. So total of this will be in the numerator administration overheads. And then third is you have to calculate the charging rate even for selling and distribution. So total of all these will become your estimated selling and distribution overheads. So this is the numerator. We are calculating the charging rate for each of the overheads. So numerator is done. And this is what the numerator which I'm explaining is what we are going to start exactly now, making a total, which is why I said you have to be ready with all your gadgets. And this chapter is completely calculation chapter, and the calculations are very simple. Now comes the most interesting and the most important part is deciding that in order to find out the charging rate. See, whenever we find out the charging rate has to be calculated per something. Like in case of material, when I calculated the charging rate, which was the starting point of our material chapter calculations, if you remember, we took in numerator total cost of material, purchase cost, handling cost, transport cost, loading, unloading cost, all those were in the numerator. And we divided it by the quantity of material, so that we got the price per unit of material. Similarly, when we were calculating the labor charging price, again at the start of the labor chapter, what we did in the numerator, we added all expenses of labor, which you will study in the income tax as salary income. You added all that. And in the denominator, you divided it by the labor hours. So again, you calculated the labor charging rate per labor hour. Similarly, here also, in overheads, we have to calculate each of these charging rates, but they have to be calculated per something. What is this per? That is what is called as base. And why it is called as base? Because mathematically, it is in the denominator, it is below. So whatever is in the lower part, we call it as the base. And that is why in English we say, on the basis of units, I am going to charge this cost. On the basis of labor hours, I am going to charge this cost. So in English also, we use this phrasing on the basis of. So while calculating in the formula, you are dividing it by something. That something is the base. Now, what should be this base? That depends upon the nature of the overheads. So as you can see over here, when we have to calculate the charging rate for selling and distribution overheads, we can calculate it per unit, but which units? Unit of your product sold. Or we can calculate it as a percentage of sales. So there are two options given. You can calculate the selling and distribution overheads as per unit sold. So it can be per unit sold. If you have to calculate the selling and distribution overheads charging rate on the basis of unit sold, you will divide it by estimated units sold. So simply in the numerator, selling cost, in the denominator, number of units which you are expecting to sell. So automatically the cost you are getting will be per unit of quantity. So my charging price will be per unit of quantity. Second option given for same selling overheads is numerator is same, estimated selling and distribution overheads. Denominator, they say, instead of taking quantity, you take the sales value. Now, importantly, this is also in rupees because it is expense. This is sales value. This is also in rupees. So rupees divided by rupees will make no sense. So we multiplied by 100. So this will become a percentage. So the second option is that in the base, in the denominator, you take sales value. Now, since you are taking value, so numerator and denominator both becomes in monetary terms. So we will express this as a percentage. So here my answer would be coming something like this, that selling and distribution overheads is 25% of sales. Here my answer would be coming like this, selling and distribution overheads is 100 per unit. So whenever you'll prepare the cost sheet, in the cost sheet sums chapters, you'll find that this is how they charge these expenses. I hope you are getting this, students. So see, calculations are simple. We have to simply first calculate the numerator by adding up all the expenses, which we are going to start immediately. And in the denominator, you have to select the correct base. What is the base we are trying to understand? And the base is dependent upon the nature of overheads. So if it is selling and distribution overheads, either you can take base as unit sold or you can take base as sales value. Now, when we come to administration overheads, what does administration overheads suggest? You can calculate it either on the basis of units produced. So see the difference. Here it was units sold because we were talking about selling overheads. So logically, you should take sale units. But when it is administration, you can take the basis as the production units. And second option, if you want to calculate it as a percentage, take it as a percentage of factory cost. So I will divide it by estimated production units. So automatically I'll get this as something rupees 250 per unit. Or second option is estimated administration overheads in the numerator upon estimated factory cost in the denominator. And since both are in rupees, multiplied by 100. Let us say this is coming as 125% of factory cost. So this is how you calculate the overhead charging rates for administration, for selling and distribution. Now, what is the important part which we are going to study and solve is calculating the ORR, that is the overhead charging rate, overhead recovery rate for production overheads. Now you'll say, sir, what is so special? You'll follow the same procedure in the numerator. You find out the total production overheads by adding up all expenses, and in denominator divided by base. You are right. In fact, the method is same. That is the mother formula. So it will continue for everyone, even for production overheads. But in production overheads, there are two mechanisms suggested. One is called as the blanket rate or the single rate, and the other is called as the departmental rate. Now, this is a theory part. So we will understand this theory wise also, because it may be a 1 mark, 2 mark theory question. And most important, this is your entire practical part that you are going to solve. So now be ready with your notebooks, with your calculators, so that you can start solving along with me. So what we are going to study now is more detail about production overheads charging. Now, firstly, let me tell you, like in your accounts, in cost accounts also, we have different types of books or ledgers. What it means? In your accounts, you broadly had two types of books. Books of principal entry, which was your ledger. Here also, our book of principal entry is my cost ledger. So in your financial accounting, what you studied from standard 11, you prepared the ledger. Same format we have ledger here. We will be studying that in the chapter called as cost accounting. Here, in order to distinguish, okay, that ledger is of financial books and this is of cost books, we are purposefully using this word cost ledgers. You will also understand that, okay, this is a ledger, but in different books, that is my costing books. Further, if you remember, in your financial books, you had subsidiary books also. Similarly, in my cost accounting, also I have subsidiary books. There are multiple subsidiary books. Right now, I'm talking about the book which is the present subject related. This is the overheads ledger. You can also call it as overheads register. Now, what you will find in this overheads ledger or register is, so let me prepare this for you. So overheads ledger or register will appear something like this. So you have particulars, you have the amount, then ratio, and then production, administration, and selling. Now understand this, students. As I said, what expenses are covered here? The expenses which you mainly find in your profit and loss account. So if let us say a company asks you to do their costing and cost accounting, then you have to simply pick up their last few years financial statements, that is the trading and P&L account, because from there you will get the list of all expenses the company incurs. And from that, remove purchases because that is direct material, remove direct wages because that is direct labor, and remove royalty, that is direct expense. Other than this, all expenses in trading P&L are your overheads. Now, you will take those expenses in this subsidiary book called as overheads register. Now, let me tell you practically what happens. Practically, this is nothing but a simple Excel sheet. If you have been using computers, if you have been using Microsoft Word, Excel, you'll know what is an Excel sheet. It is a sheet used for calculations. So we prepare this overheads register practically in all our clients' cost accounting records in the Excel sheet. Now in this is roughly how the format is. So in particulars, I will list down all the expenses like salary, like depreciation of factory building, depreciation of administrative block, depreciation of sales department building, depreciation of plant and machinery, depreciation of furniture and all items for which I have depreciation. Then I list down other expenses in my trading and P&L which are indirect, like advertising, like marketing. Then I may list down other expenses like rent, again rent of different buildings and so on. Now this list of expenses and their respective amounts I get from my financial statements. Now comes the most important step. What overheads register wants is that these expenses which you are incurring, I want these expenses to be categorized into the respective names or heads. Because in cost accounting, you will not find expenses by these names. We don't use these names in cost accounting. These names are used only in financial. In cost accounting, the names would be either production overheads, administration, or selling. So salary, I will find out how much is relating to factory workers, factory employees, how much is for administration, how much is for selling distribution. I will put it in respective tables. Similarly, depreciation of factory building will only come here. Administrative block will only come here. Selling block will only come here. Plant and machinery will be here. Furniture may be in all three, depending upon where the furniture is used or how much furniture is used where. Advertising will be here. Marketing will be here, and so on. Now, at the end of this summary, I will get student total production overheads, total administration overheads, and total. And these are the figures which I will be using for calculating my ORR, which I just explained. So I have to calculate my overheads charging rate, which I repeat is called as overhead recovery rate and hence ORR. And I will do it for administration. I'll do it for selling and distribution. These figures become my numerator. whatever rupees I'm getting. Denominator, I select a suitable base. So let us say I want to take the base as factory cost here. So estimated factory cost into 100. This is again some amount of estimated selling and distribution overhead. Let us say I want to take the base as units sold here. So divided by estimated units sold, and then I will get my rates. Here the rate will be percentage. Here the rate will be something per unit. But when I'm talking about production overheads, I am given two choices, which we just saw in my sheet. One choice is do the same thing. Take the administration overheads figure here, whatever it comes, divided by some suitable base. Let us say for the timing, I'm taking units produced because production overheads, the proper base should be units produced. This is one way of doing, one option. Now, when I do it this way, as you can see, I have or I will be having only one rate for charging my production overheads. I have only one rate. Opposite to this, now this is also called as the blanket rate. Now you'll understand why I'm stressing on this single rate or blanket rate. When you'll understand what is the opposite or what is the other rate. The other option is don't find out the production overhead charging rate now. Proceed further with more calculation. So now this production overheads, what I've got from my overhead register, I'm not calculating the ORR immediately. Rather, now what I'm going to do is the starting point of our practical question that we are going to discuss. This is called as what is this, students? Let us understand. So now the concept says that one option was like for administration and selling, you directly find out the overhead charging rate. But the second option is don't find out the overhead charging rate now. Since we want more precise costing, since we want detailed costing, let us first divide this production overheads figure into the different departments in which my production is carried out. Now somebody will say, sir, what it is? Now I am taking example of a motor garage, a motor repair shop where you regularly take your vehicles for their servicing and repairs. Just to explain you what is this departmentalization. So let us say I am that motor workshop, motor garage, and you want your motor vehicle to be repaired. Now what I will do is I am performing three different types of activities. One is washing and cleaning. Second is repairing. Third is maybe painting and polishing. Now, when any vehicle comes to me, either the customer wants all the three activities to be done, or the customer may want only one activity to be done, or a combination of any two activities to be done. So I will have different types of customers coming to me for different work done on their vehicle. Now, if I equate this with a production scenario, why I gave you this example? Because this is what you can visualize, you can understand what I'm trying to say. So let us say what my work is. My work is repairing your vehicles. But for repairing also, when you come, there are different stages, there are different activities or different types of work I may be doing for your vehicle. And you may be selecting all the options, or you may be selecting one or two options as a combination. Now, in this case, if I charge my production overheads by using this formula, What has happened? I have taken all expenses of my workshop in the numerator, all expenses for the entire workshop, divided it by the units. Here it will be units of vehicle which are coming for servicing, and I will get one single rate. Now, this single rate I will charge to you who is coming only for washing. The same rate I am charging to another who is coming for washing and repairing, to another who is coming for repairing and polishing, etc. Now, with this, you will understand that this is logically incorrect. If you're going to a workshop and you want only washing done, he should charge you a very lesser amount. If you want washing and repairing done, his amount would be different. But how this different amount is calculated, that is what is our main working part. So what is departmentalization? So instead of taking the total overheads figure and charging it, we further we further distribute our production overheads into the different production functions that are carried out. Now I convert it into a factory example. So let us say my factory makes different types of products which are required. Now, while making different products, my factory carries out different types of production functions. So these are now my production functions. Now, the point is that whatever production function my factory is carrying out, this production function is three different processes. So first is the process one, which is, let us say, washing, cleaning, repairing is process two, and painting, polishing is process three. Now, interestingly, importantly, all the products will not be requiring all the three processes. Different products require different processes. Now, if my different products require different processes, then I should not have one single rate for factory overheads. I should have three different rates so that whichever product uses whichever process, I will charge only overheads of that process to that product. This I am sure you would have understood with this workshop example. So this is where the concept of departmentalization comes, which says now this total factory overheads, which you have calculated in your overheads register, divide it between all your departments, or I will say processes within your factory. Then comes this working, which we are going to do, which is called as statement of primary distribution of production overheads. So students, this is our first working that we are going to start today. What is the format? You will find that this format will appear similar to your above overheads register format. So particulars, then you have your amount, then you have the ratio. What is this ratio? I will tell you. Over here is called as basis of apportionment. You'll understand all these terms. Then what I will do, I will divide my factory into the different processes which the factory carries out. Now, when I divide my factory into different processes it carries out, I'm calling them as departments. I will find that there are two types of things. One is the actual production, which is in the form of three different processes. As I was saying, washing is one process, repairing is another, and polishing, painting is another. Here also I have three processes done by three different departments. Let us call this ABC. But at the same time, in my factory, I have such departments which are supporting the production work. Like I have one department which is the stores, where I store all the materials, all the spare parts which will be required in production. So there is one department X. X is the stores department. Similarly, I have another department like the repairs and maintenance department, which is regularly doing repairs work of my machines, which are in the production department. Because my machines, when they are regularly used, there will be a lot of wear and tear, and I need to keep on repairing them. So my entire factory is divided into these five sub parts or these five different types of processes. Out of these, three are the one which are actually doing production of my product. Two are such who are supporting the production activities in the form of stores, in the form of repairs. Now what I will do is this production overheads, which I calculated from my financial records, out of all these expenses, what are the production related expenses? I've got it from here. The total was here. I will not find out a single charging rate. Instead, I will find out different charging rates for different departments. This is where, see, this was single rate or blanket rate, having one rate for entire factory overheads, which we are not suggesting. Instead, we are suggesting have different rates for different departments in your factory or for different processes in your factory. So now I will be having three rates, one for my process A, one for my process B, one for my process C. So instead of having one rate, I will have three rates. This is called as departmental rates. And for this, what steps we are going to follow, that step is called as departmentalization. Now, what is this departmentalization? I will write down all the expenses again in the particulars. In the amount column, I'll take all these amounts which I found out here in my overheads register. So whatever amounts are pertaining to the production, I have copied from the overheads register here. And now what I will do is all these expenses which are now of my factory, I will divide them between my processes which I'm doing in my factory. So the entire factory overheads will now be divided between the various departments in the factory. This is what is conceptually, theoretically called as departmentalization of factory overheads or production overheads. So departmentalization means now dividing the factory overheads between the various departments in the factory. At the end of this, I will get this total was my total production overheads as per above overheads register. Now it will get divided into overheads of A, overheads of B, overheads of C, overheads of X, overheads of Y. So my entire production overheads is now divided into the various departments in the factory. That is why this process is called as departmentalization. And this step is called as primary distribution of overheads. Primary means the first. Now, after this, what I will do is, since these two, X and Y, are only supporting departments, they are not involved in the products manufacturing. Rather, they are supporting the production department. In my second part, what I will do is, I will take the department X overheads, which I got here. This will come in the amount. And now I will distribute this in my production departments because ultimately department X, which is the stores, is giving its service to the production department. Same thing I'll do for this. I will take the department Y's overheads, which I calculated here. So this is the amount. Again, I will divide it between my production overheads. Now at the end of this step, since I've distributed them, this is now 0. And now I will get a higher figure, which will be my final total department A's overheads, total department B's overheads, and total department C's overheads. So this will be my final total. And now I have overheads only for the departments which are actually doing the production processes. Like in my original example, the cleaning, washing, second was repairing, third was painting. Now this step where I have divided the service department expenses to my production departments, this step is called as the secondary distribution of overheads. And now what I will do for these three department totals, I will select a base for each department. And for different departments, I may have different bases. Here I may have units. Here I may have labor hours. Here I may have machine hours, depending upon how that department functions. Now I'll divide these estimated overheads of each department by their respective bases. So the same mother formula is continued, but it is continued for each department separately, so that now I will get three charging rates. So this rate will be for department A. Let us say it is coming as 45 per unit. This rate is for department B. Let us say it is coming as 12 per labor hour. And this is for department C. Let us say it is coming as 20 per machine hour. So now instead of single, I am having three rates. And that is why this entire process is called as departmentalization of overheads. And at the end of this process, we will be getting three rates for each department separately. And hence, this is the departmental rate method or approach. So for production overheads, there are two options or two approaches suggested for charging. One, you find out only one rate for entire overheads, production overheads, or you find out different rates for different production departments. This is generally more suggested. So what we are going to start now is simple mathematics. What is simple mathematics? That you are given the amounts of each expenses, salary, rent, depreciation, whatever. Now the simple maths is you have to divide it between all your departments, which will be called as primary. Then after this is done, the second step will be whatever is the overheads of department X and Y that you got by the primary, that you have to now divide between the production departments. This will be called as secondary. And for dividing all this, we will have to use some ratios. Now, what are those ratios? That is what is called as basis of apportionment. So the basis of apportionment in simple word means the ratio in which it will be divided. And that is what we are going to study now, which we are going to solve now. Is this clear to all? Has everybody understood up to this stage, up to this point? Students, tell me. Good. Super. Very good. Excellent. Perfect. क्या बात है? Many new people are also responding. It is good to see this. Excellent. Now, since I've understood this diagrammatically, conceptually, now let us do it mathematically. Now, the only thing students we do in this chapter is dividing the amount between these departments. First, between all, including production and service, that is primary. And after doing primary, the amounts of service department between the production department, which is secondary. And then as a last step, using the mother formula, dividing these total amounts by a proper base to find out our overhead charging rate, overhead recovery rate, which is ORR. You want to see the statement in full to take screenshot? Okay, 1 second. Ishwarya says, "Ki sir, please show the statement in full." So beta, this is the statement. You can take a screenshot. This is how we are going to solve. Though our working will be in parts, we'll today first practice primary distribution, then secondary, then ORR, and eventually we'll go to a complete sum. Even in exams, depending upon the weightage, if it is only a 4-mark question, they may be asking you to do one of the things, either primary or either secondary. If it is 6 to 8-mark sums, they will ask you to do everything, primary, secondary, ORR, everything. Correct? Now, Now comes the most interesting and important point. See, these are the steps. So first I estimated all my overheads. And from where do you get overheads? As I said, from the overheads register. Now we are talking only about the production overheads. Now we started departmentalizing, means dividing it between all our production departments. First step is primary, second is secondary. And after finding out the total overheads of each production departments, we calculate the overhead charging rate, absorption rate. If you are doing it for entire production overheads, only one working, it is single rate or blanket rate. Or if you are following the above steps and finding out rate for each production department, it will be departmental rate. And then using these rates, I will charge the overheads. This is what we do in cost sheet. We actually charge or absorb these overheads in our products. And then this last step that we'll study at the end. Now comes the details of each of these steps. So now we are at the primary distribution. Now in primary distribution, how to divide the overheads? That is what is the question, which is the simple maths which we are going to do. How to divide? So Gunjan beta, this is what we are discussing. How to divide? What is the basis of division, apportionment? This is what exactly now I'm explaining. Now in this, theoretically, you should know there are two steps given. One is called as allocation. The other is called as apportionment. Now this is all theory. Practical we are going to do. But theory also, as I said, 1 or 2 marks theory question can come. Now it is allocation and apportionment. You will find that some expenses are such that you know them beforehand only how much is for department A, for B, for C, for X, for Y. Like salary. Salary is generally paid to the workers who are working in each department, and you know that okay, these are the workers of department A, these are of X, these are of C, these are of Y, etc. So those expenses you need not divide in any ratio. Those are directly given to that department. Means I know that the salary of these workers who are of A is this much. I'll directly put it in department A column. I know these are the workers of department X. I'll put their salary in department X column. So I don't have to use any ratio. That is what is called as allocation. So what is allocation? Charging the overheads of a particular department directly to that department. Why directly? Because I know this amount of salaries of this workers, which is of department B, of C, of X. But then there are some common expenses commonly incurred, like rent. Rent you don't pay department wise. Rent you have paid for entire factory. Light bill is for entire factory. Factory manager salary is for entire factory. Now, such expenses you need to divide, you need to distribute using some ratio. Such expenses which you have to divide, distribute is what is called as apportionment. So when you are dividing in some ratio, that process is called as apportionment. So this is the theory. The process of dividing or distributing between different departments is what is called as apportionment. Now, if you have to divide, you need a ratio. So what is this ratio? What is the basis of dividing? That is what is the main practical part. Now, students, this is also logical. You see what are these overhead expenses. Depending upon the names of these expenses, you have to select a logical ratio. So when I'm saying basis of apportionment, I'm talking about what ratio to be taken. So when the expenses of building, what type of expense? Rent, repair, maintenance. What will be the ratio you will be using? You will be using the ratio of area. In case area is not given, then the second option will be value. But first option, first priority is area. But when it comes to depreciation of any asset, which may be building, which may be machinery, any asset, if you are taking depreciation or insurance. So for these two expenses of depreciation and insurance, my preference would be value. Why? Because depreciation is on the basis of value. So see, these are some logical things which you have to remember. For indirect wages, you can use direct wages. For indirect material, you can use direct material. Then for expenses relating to workers like supervision, canteen, you'll use number of workers as the ratio. For material handling, you'll use cost of material, if not quantity of material. Then something important, power. I'll come to this a bit later. Let me take the easier one first. Lighting expenses, or it is also called as general lighting. Now, what is general lighting or lighting? All the tube lights and fans which we see in our house, in similar fashion in factories also, you will have the lighting required in the factory in the form of tube lights, fans, etc. For that, the ratio would be the light points. What are the light points? In your house, you have a switchboard where you have number of points. There are three for tube lights, two for fan. So I'll say you have five light points in this flat. In another flat, you may have 10. So similarly, in the factory, in each department, you will have different number of light points. That will be my ratio. If this is not given, second preference will be area. So see, whatever I have given after the comma is my second preference in case the first one is missing. Now, what is the logic? Simple. Bigger the department, logically more will be the light points. So if light points are not given, you can take the area of the department as ratio. Now, interestingly, what is power? Power is also your electricity bill. So it is same, but the difference is it is electricity bill of running your machines. So this is general lighting for all tube lights, fans, etc. And this is the electricity bill for machines. In big factories, there are separate meters for machines because machine consume a higher load. So they require a separate meter altogether. You cannot use the regular meter because regular meter will draw power only of a specific load. Machines require a very heavy load power. Now, for distributing or dividing these power expenses, the ratio to be taken has to be first calculated by multiplying two things. One is horsepower of the machine. So every engine, every motor has a power given. Like even for your vehicles, we say my vehicle is of 150 cc. My bike is 150 cc. So what is this 150 cc? It is the horsepower of the engine of my bike. Similarly, when you see bigger vehicles, it is measured in 1.6 liters. So you'll say, see behind these cars or SUVs written 1.6. So it is 1600 cc vehicle. It is 2000 cc vehicle. So that is the horsepower of the engine of that vehicle. So similarly, every machine power that they are drawing or the load that they require is measured in horsepower, which we call as CC, right? Cubic capacity. So horsepower multiplied by how many hours the machine would be run. So you'll multiply these two figures, horsepower and machine hours. This amount that you'll get will be the ratio. Now in certain sums, only horsepower is given. So take only horsepower. If only machine hours are given, take only machine hours. That these minor adjustments you'll have to do. Most interesting is this miscellaneous expenses, other expenses, or sundry, where no name is given. Now, here you have all these options. You can take the direct wages ratio, you can take the labor hour ratio, you can take the machine hour ratio. Out of this, when to use what, I'll explain when we go to practical sum. So, students, broadly, these are the different options, these are the different ratios. Now, one thing you would have understood, this is a very simple thing to select what ratio to be done. How? On the basis of the names of the expenses. Correct? This is primary. So we will now first start with primary. Then after solving few sums of primary, we'll go to secondary. So your sums of overheads appear like this. Now in this, if it is only a primary distribution sum, we will stop at the first stage after dividing all expenses between ABC and XY. Will not move further. But if it is a primary plus secondary, we'll first do primary and taking the primary totals, we'll do secondary. But what we'll do, we'll first solve only sums on primary like this. Then I have curated few sums and also taken few exam sums only on secondary. So we'll solve few sums on secondary because that also you get independently. And then we'll have a comprehensive type of sums, which is the 6 to 8 mark sums where primary, secondary, everything is to be done, right? Chalo. Now, the first thing that you all need to do is we need to solve this parallelly. So first, draw this type of table in your notebooks. Same exact table you have to draw. What is the name? So this will be my question one working. Statement of primary distribution of production overheads. Particulars, amount rupees, basis of apportionment, production department, service departments. Right? So this type of table is required. You will draw this table and after you have done drawing, I'm giving you 2 to 5 minutes for all these expenses, okay, leave the above part. Only for these expenses which you can see here, because these are all common expenses like rent, lighting. I give you 2 to 5 minutes. You identify and maybe write down somewhere what ratios you will be using. The ratios are here. See, you have so many items given which you can use as ratio for these common expenses, right? So I give you 2 to 5 minutes. First, draw this table. The table is in the same format what I gave you as an example. Draw this table and also identify that for those common expenses, what will be your ratio, right? I'll just take a 2 minutes refreshment break by the time you do this. you have done your side of the preparatory part. Let me now take you to the actual working. Students, I will require your calculator support as usual. So be ready with the calculators. I'll give you some very interesting shortcuts so that your calculations, even using the calculators, would be much faster. Now, once you have prepared this entire table, let us now solve these sums. These sums range between 3 to 4 marks depending upon the number of items they have covered in this question. So like the present question which I am having, which we are going to solve, you can expect this to be around 4 marks. Correct? So the format is statement of primary distribution, particulars, amount rupees, basis of apportionment, then your production departments ABC, service departments X and Y. Now what I'll do is I'll make a list of all the expenses that I am having: direct material, direct labor, indirect material, indirect labor. I'm just using short forms for saving the time. Direct material. Students, write down these 4 names. I'm just changing the chart. So direct material, direct labor, indirect material, indirect labor. Then I will write down all the common expenses. They are rent, lighting, repairs to plant, power, rent, lighting. Now here you'll have to leave one line space between every common expense. Repairs to plant, then power, depreciation plant, repairs to building, canteen, depreciation of plant, repairs to building, canteen, then sundries. Correct? So we make a list of all these expenses. Few are given in the table itself, few are given at the bottom as common. Now, all these which are given in the table, if you see the table, these are already given department wise. So here I need not apply any ratio. So for basis of apportionment, where you have to write the ratio in that column, you will simply write given. Why? Already the breakup of this is given department wise, and these are the expenses which you will simply pick and put in the department columns. This step is what is called as allocation of overheads in the theory. And these remaining expenses, right from rent to sundries, are the common expense because their amounts are given in total. You don't know the amounts department wise. That is where you'll have to use some ratio here to distribute it, divide it between all the departments. This step is theoretically called as the apportionment of overheads. Correct, students? So the two steps, the two theoretical concepts given in the primary distribution is allocation of overheads, apportionment, which I'm sure with this practical example, you have understood the meaning of both. Now, let us start solving. Now, when you come to this sum, which is a very commonly asked question of primary distribution, you will find that out of the 4 expenses given in the table, 2 expenses, the first 2 expenses are direct expenses. Now, please understand, students, this topic is going to deal only with the indirect expense because the topic at our hand is overheads. Whatever costing, whatever charging, whatever ORR calculation we are doing only for overheads. This direct material, direct labor, we have already charged in cost sheet in our previous two chapters. So these two expenses, I'm not going to charge again here because these two are already charged in my previous two chapters of material and labor. Now comes the interesting part. This is given as an unnecessary data, and you should also be able to identify what is not required in a particular working. So even though this is given, I will be ignoring this in my answer because these are already charged to my products in the cost sheet because they are direct. However, as you can see, I have only erased the direct material, direct labor from ABC, not from X and Y. X and Y I will consider in my working. So I'm taking the figures 10, 7, 20, 13. Correct? So here 10, 7, 20, 13, but dash. Now the question is why? Why we did not consider the direct material, direct labor from ABC, but we considered from XY. As I already said, direct material, direct labor are direct costs, which are already charged in cost sheet. In the previous two chapters, we studied their charging rate, we studied their calculation. Here in this chapter, I want to charge overheads, which is not yet charged in direct material, direct labor. Hence, I ignored the direct material, direct labor, which is used in the production department, because what is used in the production department is what is the direct material like raw material, direct wages of production worker. But why I took it in the service department? Because service department is not doing production like service department. What is this service department? It is stores. So the direct material, direct labor used there is for the stores function. This is, let us say, repairs and maintenance department of my factory, which is going to do repairing of the machines. What is the direct material used here? Some chemical, some oil, some grease, which it is going to use for cleaning of the machines, for re-oiling of the machine. So it may be direct material for that function of repairs, but from the perspective of your product, it is still indirect because it is not consumed in making the product directly. Hence, it is still an overhead and hence it will be considered. So this is an important conceptual point, students. See, practically solving is very simple. In ABC, you will ignore, you will take only in X and Y. So answer is very simple. And I repeat, in this entire subject of costing, we have studied till now 3 chapters. This is the 4th chapter. You will find that whatever maths we are doing is the most basic maths of school up to 5, 6, 7 standard, not beyond that. So no special calculations, no special fancy maths, only the basic maths of add, less, divide, here distributing in the departments using ratios, simple maths. So calculation wise, the topics are very simple, but conceptually you should know what to do where. I hope this is clear. But when it comes to indirect material, indirect labor, it is indirect, so it will come in all the columns. So this is what you have to remember. So 8, 5, 6, 3, 1.4. 8, 5, 6, 3, 1.4. See, this is how in exams also you should do to save time and also not to keep on referring to question paper again and again. So again, 11, 6, 7, 5, 4. 11, 6, 7, 5, 4. See, these are small tricks which helps you do these mechanical work faster and error free. So for first 4 expenses, I've done what is called as allocation. picking and putting in the respective columns, right? So totals you will write here. So 17,000, 33,000, and then you can take a total of these four. So 8, 5, 13, 13 and 9, 22, 23, 400, 11, 6, 17, 17 and 7, 24, 24 and 5, 29, 29 and 6, 33, 29 and 4, sorry. Now, after this, I will take all the common expenses, and now you have selected some ratios that will be now checked. Rent. How much is the amount? 30,000. Students, what ratio should I take for rent? Tell me. I'm writing down the expenses. You tell me the ratios. You can start putting me the ratios like for rent, this. You can use R dash. So need not type entire rent. Just say R dash, L lighting dash, R RP, that is repairs to plant dash, PO, that is power dash, DEP, DEP, and you can just put me in the chat box what ratios you have selected. 12,000, repairs to plant 8,000. Super. I'm impressed to see the answers. Aditi, I don't want the figures. I want the names, ratios that are using. Give me the names of others also. Shall don't give me the ratio. I just give me the names for others also, not only for the first one. Okay. Okay, Mustafa. Good. We'll come to each of these. Kervi, see why we have taken direct material and direct labor in X and Y. This is your question. Students, I'll repeat. See, X and Y are my service departments. What are they doing? First, visualize. X is the stores in my factory. Y is the repairs department of my factory. Are they doing anything for this product? This is my product which I'm making in the factory. Is this product passing through the department X? Is it taking any service of department Y? Answer is no. So whatever material and labor is consumed in X and Y is indirect for this product because you don't know how much of that material of X and Y is used here. Example, as I gave you example of X and Y, I'll give you example of Y, which is easy. Y is your repairs department. Now, what is the material used in repairs department? It is using grease, it is using oil for doing the servicing of your machines. Now, this oil grease is direct material of department Y, which is the repairs department. Now, when it is using this oil grease for servicing machines, do you know how much oil will be required for this one product? Answer is no. That is why the direct material, direct labor of these departments, which are service departments, is an overheads when you look at it from the point of view of product because you cannot identify. See, what are overheads? Which we cannot identify, which we cannot measure as to how much is required for my product. This is the reason, beta. I hope I could explain and your doubt is clear. Very good, Khushi. Very good, Aishwarya. Yes, good, Riddhi. Krishna, very good. Yes, Meenu. Good. Very good, Aditi. Yes. Mustafa. Good. Good. Chalo. Then let us now solve it. Yes, Meenu Kumari. Good. Somebody said that there is some mistake in my total. No, my totals are correct. Still, if someone is suggesting, let me recheck. 8, 5, 13, 13 and 9, 22, 23, correct. 11, 6, 17, 17 and 12, 29, 29, 33. My totals are correct, beta. Somebody suggested me some correction in totals, but my totals are correct. The totals will be what I have distributed, not the totals of the original question. So here, if I have not distributed the entire direct material, direct labor, why will I take the total? So I'll take the total only of X and Y, which I have distributed. Fine. Okay. Now, for rent, as rightly pointed out by all, it is area. How much is the area? It is 800, 300, 600, 200, 150. This becomes my ratio. 8, 3, 6, 2. Now, students, this is where many times a simple sum gets wrong answers. Why? See, when you're taking ratio, you have to be clear that the last ratio will be now 1.5. So it will be 8 is to 3 is to 6 is to 2 is to 1.5. Many times we mistakenly in the exam take this as 15, and that is where all your simple answers get wrong. Correct? So this is where you have to be cautious. You should not, uh, in the haste of solving it fast, take wrong figures, right? Now we know how to do ratio. Now I'll give you a trick in your calc. So this is 8 plus 3, 11 plus 6, 17 plus 2, 19 plus this. So the total comes to 20.5. Correct? Now take your calcs and just follow what I'm saying, because I'm going to give you an interesting shortcut. Now, if I ask you to divide this 30,000 in this ratio, what steps you will do in calc? In your calculator, what you will do is, so this is, I'm taking my phone because I'm not having a calc. I will type 30,000, correct? Then divide by, and then I'll type 20.5. Till this step, we all know. Now I'll get a figure which I will multiply by 8, which is my first ratio, correct? Up to this step, all are doing same. So 30,000 total amount on the calc divided by, so you type or press the divide by function key, and then you type 20.5, and now you press multiply by key, and you 8 and equal to, correct? Till this step, all are on same page. You all are following the same steps. Now you get some figure, which is the amount for A, and somebody has given me this amount. Meenu has given me this amount. So I'm for the time being writing the amount given by Meenu. All others may cross check and let me know. So it is 11707.3. So 11707.3. Be patient. Correct. Now comes the trick. So you already have this figure on your calcs. Now what you will do further, or what you have done if somebody has calculated, you will divide this figure by 8 and multiplied by 3. Correct? If I'm right, you will divide this figure by 8 and multiplied by 3. So those who have calculated the further figures, they have calculated by this step. You have divided this by 8 multiplied by 3. But this is a long process. I'll give you a shortcut. Just pay attention. So you should again go back to your calculation, because if you have done something else, the answer will not come by the trick. So again, clear your computer screen memory and do what I'm saying. So 30,000 divided by 20.5 multiplied by 8 equal to, and when you do this, you have got the figure of 11707, whatever is this figure, correct? Now you are having this figure on the screen. Now listen me out. Just type 3 and equal to, nothing else. So type, when you have this figure 11707 on the screen, now simply press the 3 and equal to. Simply type 3 and equal to. You will a beautiful 4390 point something. Now simply type 6 and equal to, nothing else. 6 and equal to. I hope you are getting by this shortcut. Means instead of dividing and multiplying, you have to simply type the next ratio and equal to. Whatever figure you are having, simply type the next ratio and equal to. So we are saving our steps of again and again multiplying, dividing again and because many times when you are taking divide, multiply, even if one thing goes wrong, it will be havoc. So I hope you got the trick. Yes, Himanshu, you can round off. Rounding off is not a big deal. Students, I hope you all got the trick. Those who are knowing, it is great. Those who are not knowing, I hope this trick will help you, because you have FM costing multiple chapters where this ratios are to be done. That is where this trick will save a lot of your time. Correct? Should I proceed? Now for lighting, I should take light points. Same thing. For light points, what is the ratio? Students, be careful. One, one wrong figure and everything will go haywire. So 45, 20, 35, 15, 20. Now I know as sharp students of maths, you will say, sir, I will not take all this figure. I'll divide it by 5, I'll divide it by 10, I'll take some other figure. But let me tell you, students, it looks fancy, but it is always risk prone. So better is take the figures as it is. So 45, 20, 35, 15, 20. And then 12,000 divided by total of this multiplied by 45 equal to, you will get this figure. Now simply type 20 equal to, you will get this figure. Simply type 35 equal to, you will get this figure. Yes, Riddhi Ben. I know it will help a lot. Good, Harsh. It is helpful and most important, error-free and fast. Because otherwise, what we have been doing, we divided by one ratio multiplied by other. That is giving you answers, but then you are making 2, 3 steps and one wrong figure, everything is gone. And in exams, you don't have time to go back and recheck whether the figure which we took was correct or not. We will simply write the answers, and one wrong thing, that line item will go wrong. Correct? Yes, beta. I'm trying to unmute you, Lakshmi Priya. It's not happening, beta. Lakshmi, I'm trying to unmute, but somehow it is not getting unmuted. Can anybody help me unmuting Lakshmi Priya? Because at my end, it is not happening.
Sir, she
Priya,
can unmute itself.
Acha, Lakshmi, please, if you have doubt, unmute yourself. Lakshmi, you have raised your hand. If it is by mistake, no problem. If you have doubt, please ask. Okay. Sorry, sir. भी वो गलती से हो गया रहेगा. ठीक है. ठीक है. Yes. Students, let us proceed. Now, repairs to plant. What will be the ratio? The ratio will be value of plant. See, you have to select the appropriate ratio applicable to that expense, and you have to do this by reading the name of the expense and checking what is the appropriate ratio for that, right? So it will be value of plant, which is the ratio given. Now people are giving me answers. That is excellent. So I'm just writing one of the values. So somebody gave me 399.99. So it is as good as 4,000. And many are giving me 4,000 only. So that much rounding off is allowed. In fact, you should do that much rounding off. It is not at all expected that you take the entire decimals, because we have a concept called as materiality, which we follow in accounting costing. The same logic applies over here also, that for small decimals, don't waste your time, right? Chalo, so next.
हेलो
Yes, Ramchand, beta, please tell me.
सर, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही थी, वही पूछना था।
नहीं बेटा, मैंने वॉइस म्यूट पे कर दिया था, बिकॉज
ओके
आई हैड वन कॉल, बिकॉज मैं आज यहाँ पे बाहर हूँ, एक दूसरे सेशन के लिए आया हूँ. सो ड्राइवर वाज कॉलिंग, सो आई जस्ट पुट यू ऑन म्यूट टू आंसर.
ओके सर।
ठीक है. नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, द मोस्ट इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट इज दिस, where commonly students make a mistake. So here, as we were discussing, it has to be HP into machine hours. Correct? Now, HP into machine hours, you have to be very cautious when you are doing this, because one small mistake in calculation, everything is gone. So be clear, students. You have to be very, very, very specific with the workings. I've been repeating this, but this is more important in this chapter and in the chapter in this particular point of HP into machine hours. See, so firstly for power, we take this HP into machine hours. Now this is the HP, which is given as 200, and this is the machine hours, which is given as 50,000. Now, first, what I will do is I will reduce the zeros. So all the four zeros I'm striking out. Now, 200 into 5, I'm writing it here. I get 1,000. 3 into 800, I get 2,400. And 4 into 500, I get 2,000. Now this becomes my ratio for HP into machine hours. Students, don't make haste. Be very, very, very cautious, because this is fully scoring chapter. and you should score full marks. And for this, you should take the right values. Calculations are very simple. Only the thing is right values have to be taken. Now, interestingly, there is nothing in service department, obviously, because service department may not be using any machines. So there is no reason of it having machines. So there is no data in this. Now my ratio will be 1000, 2420. I may further reduce by removing two zeros. Again, be cautious that you will remove two zeros from all the figures. See, this is where we make a mistake because there may be somewhere three zeros, somewhere two zeros. We simply do what? We remove all the zeros, but that is not correct. So to bring it at par, it is only removing two zeros. So my ratio is 10, 24, 20. So ratio here is 10, 24, 20. Correct, students? I hope this is understood and clear to everyone. No doubts with this, students. Correct? Then for depreciation of plant, again it will be value of plant. So same, it will be 850 is to 650 is to 900 is to 80 is to 100. Correct? Good. See, this is a very scoring, a simple, straightforward chapter. So be cautious and be very specific when you are solving, students. Done? Okay. Now when it comes to repairs to building, again my basis for building will be area. Since this is repairs, it is not depreciation. So for repairs, the basis will be area. Again, the same ratio I'm copying from above. I need not go back to the question for things which I already have in my answer. Again, it is a way of saving time in exams because the more you go to the question paper, it is consuming time, plus you may end up taking wrong figures. So simply from your answer only, you can take the same figure again. Now, for canteen, again, as rightly pointed out by y'all, the basis would be number of hours. Sorry, number of employees. Now, what is this ratio of employees, students? So it is 28, 42, 30, 12, 18. 28, 42, 30, 12, 18. Yes, correct. Yes, Himanshu, you can write the whole figures. No need to break down into smaller ratios. Aditi, don't worry. See, you're rounding off only decimals, which is few paise. Your totals will vary with hardly 1 or 2 rupees difference. And again, applying materiality concept, you see the figures are in thousands. So in thousands, if you are rounding off 1 or 2 or 3 rupees in the total, the difference will be of only 1 or 2 or 3 rupees, and it will get compensated here and there. So that is not a big challenge, but don't worry for that. Now coming to the most crucial question, what will be the ratio for sundries? Here, students, as you saw in the theory part, you can take direct labor also, direct labor hours also, machine hours also, and all are given in this question. You have the machine hours and you also have the direct labor cost. So if that is the case, if both are there, which one to be taken? So pay attention, students. When we are talking about sundries or miscellaneous, You have to see how is your department functioning. In this sum, it says your production department is labor intensive. Just giving you a comparison with the next sum. The next sum is saying a manufacturing company has three production machine departments. Means this question, the production is with machine as your main element. So you have to check this in the question, how your working is being done. Is it labor driven? Is it machine driven? Like in my present case, question number one, it is labor intensive. It means it is labor driven. Now, since it is labor intensive or labor driven, I will take labor cost or labor hours had they been given in the sum as the base. So now my ratio for sundries will be labor cost. So this is how you select for sundries. So it is direct labor cost, and now the ratio will be 50, 30, 50, 20, 30. So it is 50, 30, 50, sorry, not 15, it is again 50, 20, 30. Correct, students? So this is primary distribution. Now you will take total of overheads of each department A, B, C, X, and Y. Right? So, is this understood by all students? I hope you are getting this interesting topic, the answers, the concepts. Super. Very good. If anybody has any doubts, any questions, any challenges in concepts, please ask. Wherever you want to speak and ask, unmute yourself. Wherever you feel you can simply type and ask, put it in the chat. But get things cleared there and there itself. Right? Now, you may be doing the totaling part. I'll request you to take it up at the end. So we'll first do more of the conceptual part and the practical part, and then you can do the mechanical part. So see, a total on calculator you can do anytime, right? Let me take you to the next sum. Now, in this next sum, students, again, I give you 5 minutes. Read, and now you will tell me again what ratio will be used where. Again, you will decide. So read the question and decide. Yes, Aditya, please tell me. So till this time others are doing this, you can ask me your doubt. Aditya, tell me. You said there is doubt in HP multiplied by machine. So what is the doubt? We have already done the solving. So if there is doubt, please specify what your doubt is so that I can help you out accordingly. Lakshita, yes. I will request technical team to please post the WhatsApp link. Lakshita wants the WhatsApp group link. So please post it here. Yes, Aditya, I'm waiting for your query, beta.
Sir, I am audible.
You are audible. Please go ahead.
Sir, how is the explained machine? How it calculate some dot?
Nee, I did not get your question. You are asking how it is calculated.
How
Today it
is
is simply your means I did not get your query. It is simply you multiply both these figures. I did na. So how much is HP given in this question? 200. How much is the machine hours given? 50,000. Now this would be a huge figure. So I first remove the zeros. Possible na? In ratios you can reduce the ratio. Correct? So I remove the zero. Now it is 200 into 5. How much it comes? 1000. 800 into 3. How much it comes? 2400. 500 into 4, how much it comes? 2000. So I get these figures 1000, 2400, 2000. Then I further reduce it by removing two zeros from each figures. So I got the ratio 10, 24, 20.
Mm. Thank you, sir.
Understood?
I understand.
Super.
Understood.
No problem. I hope it is clear now. Students, mark. I'll utilize this time for my small refreshment. Come on. You do this marking. Okay, let's check. Very good, Ishwarya. Very good, Krishna. Students, let's check this out. Direct material, direct labor, you will consider only in S and T, right? Indirect material, indirect labor, indirect salary, you will consider in all, correct? I hope it is clear up to this point, students. No doubts at all. Perfect. Now coming to the common expenses. For depreciation of building 70,000, I use area. I'm writing A. For lighting 45,000, again I use area. I hope this is clear in this sum. See, this sum, why I have taken, because it is slightly different from the previous one. Here, we will not be using all conventional ratios. Why? Because they are not there. And hence, we have to take a different ratio from the regular ones. And that is why this is selected. Again, municipal tax. This is again for building. So by default, area. Right, students? I hope you are getting the logics. Very good, Nino. Then for plant, I have value of plant. So for this, I will take value of plant. For power, again, it will be HP multiplied by machine hours for power, correct? HP into machine hours. I'll just give you the working so that again, there should be no challenge. Now here in this sum, you'll find that HP and machine hours are in all departments. So you will take HP multiplied by machine hour for all. So HP is 300 and this is 5. So it is 1500. 500 into 3, again 1500. 400 into 4, 1600. 100 into 1 is 100. See, these are the points where there can be mistakes. Be clear. Students, 50 into 2, 100. I hope this is clear, students. Me 15, 15, 16, I didn't get. Menu 15, 16, 1 is what, beta? 1, 15, 16. Huh, but there should be one more one. Na? We have only typed one once. You have to type it twice. 15, 15, 16, 1, 1. Correct, na, Minu? Okay. Depreciation of plant is value of plant. Yes, beta. Ramchan, you can ask your query, beta.
सर आपकी आवाज बहुत स्लो आ रही है।
Sorry?
आपकी आवाज बहुत स्लो आ रही है, कुछ
अच्छा
समझ
ठीक है
नहीं आ रहा।
सर मैं sir it is internet issue but still tell me, I'll repeat if something is not clear. Anyways, it is calculation. I'm showing it on the screen. That is what I'm saying. Still, if it is not clear, you want me to repeat something, please tell me, beta. I will repeat. वीडियो बेटा स्टक है वो जनरली रहता ही है। आजकल क्या पता कितने लोग सुबह सुबह इंटरनेट यूज करते हैं, मुझे भी नहीं समझ में आता। everybody gets up in the morning and starts forwarding the videos and good morning messages. In fact, this is one of the researches that our internet is too much jammed in the morning period. Why? Because there are too many people on the net, especially in the morning, saying good morning, forwarding different videos, photos. And that is why whenever I'm taking the class in the evening, I do not get this problem of video getting stuck. But yes, in the morning it happens. So still let me know wherever there is any challenge in understanding. I'll repeat. Repairs to building area. Interesting. Label welfare. Number of employees. Correct? Sundries. Here sundries is machine hours. Students, I hope now you know this, that why it is machine hours here. Correct, na? Because this department is machine driven. The work is machine driven, as you can see. At the start, they say the manufacturing company has 3 production machine departments. It means the work is machine driven, and hence you have to, correct me, it is machine intensive work. So you have to take this as your basis. Correct? Perfect now, students? So you are getting this conceptually, right? Very good. Krishna, please tell me. Students, again, we'll discuss the next question. And then
what
by
did you
the
say
time you all
about
solve.
hello, sir?
Beta voice not clear. Krishna, tell me, beta. Krishna, tell me. Your voice is not there.
Sir, what will be the
Minu,
what do you say? What will sundries amount? How will be apportionate?
amount or ratio? But I just showed,
Ratio,
I
ratio.
have written here for sundries. I have written, beta. What see I have written here? We
I think
discussed
I
this
had
now,
some
that for
network
sundries,
problem.
since this in second, no problem, I'm repeating. So for sundries, since you are a machine department here, it means your work is machine driven, machine intensive. Hence, we are taking machine hour as the base for sundries. Correct, beta?
Okay, sir. Thank you. Yes,
Yes, Minu, for labor welfare, it is number of employees. This ratio, labor has to be connected with workers. So it is number of employees. Correct, Minu? Good. It is with a number, not direct or indirect labor cost. It is number of workers, not the cost. Perfect. Students, again, I'll discuss the third question. And in the meantime, when you all solve this, I'll just take one small break. So let me come to the third question. And students, you have to solve. This is a practical chapter, simple maths driven chapter, and it requires thorough practice. So you cannot simply listen to me and understand this. Since this is fully scoring, I'll request rather that you all please solve it. The more you solve it, the more you get expertise. Now question 3. What does question 3 says? The following data pertains to machine shop. Again read. So it means your work is machine driven. Right? Now the machine shop has 3 cost centers. So see, this is a parallel word for department, right? So instead of saying department, they can call as cost centers. So the machine shop has 3 cost centers or 3 departments named as ABC, and all 3 are having different set of machines. Now in this sum, again, what is new or different is why I selected this sum, because otherwise you always have production department and service department. In this sum, you only have production departments. That is also possible. So you should be aware of all different variations. Hence, I have taken this term because this is again slightly different from the previous two. Now, all these are non-expense figures. This only expense which you are having, but since these are production departments, anyways, it has to be ignored. So this is out of frame. Now, for all the other expenses, like for indirect wages, my basis would be direct wages. Okay, chalo. Instead of me giving, again, I'll give you 2 minutes. From 6 to 12, you can type and give me 6 and the name of the ratio, 7 and the name of the ratio. Chalo. 2 minutes I'll give you. Instead of me giving you answers, you give me the answers. Chalo. 6 to 12, what will be the ratios? Yes, tell me. Very good. So a good number of answers. Okay. So, is it clear now? Sir, voice? ठीक है. Perfect. Good. Students, now the ratios. For indirect wages, it will be direct wages. For supervisor salary, it will be number of workers. Correct? Okay, chalo. For even more simplicity, I'll write the numbers. These numbers I am writing so that it is easy for you to understand. So for indirect wages, it is direct wages. That is the ratio given in number 5. So supervisor salary, it is number of workers. For depreciation, it is value of asset. For insurance, it is value of asset. For electricity charges, it is percentage of HP, and you have machine hours, so multiplied by 2. So 3 multiplied by 2, correct? So HP multiplied by machine hours. Welfare, it is of workers, so it is again number of workers. Office and others. So others we know, since this is machine department, we have to take machine hours, so it is 2. Right, students? Very good. Aditi. Good. Yes, Meenu. Good, good, good. Check the answers which I have posted. Okay, Harsh. Good. Okay. Vishal. 617184. Okay. Yes, Banti Kumar. Good. So students, these are the ratios to be used to do the apportionment, right? Perfect. Understood? Okay, Harsh, you want to take screenshot of question 2? I'm showing 1 second. So those who want can take screenshot of question 3. And Harsh, I'm showing question 2 for your reference. You can take a screenshot of this. Done, students? Chalo. Because there is a lot of connectivity issue, I'm logging out from here. So I'll be logging in next 5 to 10 minutes. In the meantime, you will solve question 2, 3, and we will discuss the answers of 1, 2, 3. Correct? Students, correct? You may even start posting the answers of 1, 2, 3. Solve it. Please use correct ratios, use proper calculations. I'll rejoin. start posting your answers for question 1, 2, 3. You can simply write the totals of each department so that we can cross check. Yes, put your answers. Question 1, question 2, question 3. Yeah, I was only person.
Yes, students, answers. Okay, so Harsh has given answer for question 1. I'll request all to kindly make a note of this. I'm putting it in the group. मनीष जी आप वो कॉपी करके ग्रुप में फॉर एवरीवन डाल सकते हैं प्लीज. आप हर्ष का आंसर ग्रुप में एवरीवन को कॉपी करके एवरीवन को मार्क करिए ना, यानी सब लोग चेक कर सकते हैं. नहीं, क्योंकि मेरे यहाँ से वो कॉपी नहीं हो रहा है, वरना मैं. हाँ. यस मीनू, गुड, करेक्ट. यस, परफेक्ट. ओके. यस मीनू, करेक्ट. Others, post your answers. Krishna, I didn't get your answer. It is for what? It is 3 point something. So, what answer you have given, Krishna? It is 3.0418, 3.478. So, what answer is this, Krishna? I didn't get. Yes, anybody else?
Good morning, friends. Yeah,
Yes.
Vishal sir, I will take 2 minutes session from
Sorry,
is
sorry,
it
sorry.
okay? Introduction can I take?
Sorry.
I mean, am I audible, sir?
You are audible, sir.
I want to take a 2 minute session from here. Can
Please,
I
sir,
take the
please.
session from here?
Sure, 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 sure.
Yeah, yeah. Very good morning, students. Myself, CMA Jain, Board of Studies faculty, and welcome you to the session. Welcome from my side, I can say. So, hope you are enjoying the sessions and you are getting a wonderful opportunity to uh, get classes from such a wonderful faculties. So, if you have any doubt regarding the material chapter, labor chapter, overhead chapter, or any other general doubt in the cost and management accounting, you can ask me, and you can post me a email also on cma-inter@icai.in. You may note it down, cma-inter@icai.in. Any student have any general doubt in the uh, complete subject, cost and management accounting, or any particular query about a particular chapter or a particular topic, you may ask about the study material also. So I think there is no doubt. If you have any doubt, you can post me a mail. No, Mustafa. There is no major change in my 26 material. If there is any change, you will be updated on the BS Knowledge portal. So till now, there is not a major change in any costing material. So you can take the current edition for the May 26 edition. CMA, C for cat, M for monkey, A for apple, dash, enter @ICAI.in. Aditi, now clear? And you can also post your query on the query portal app. And one thing I want to add in the overhead chapter, you should focus on difference between the allocation, absorption, and the apportionment. Most of the student got confused between these three terms. You have to understand the meaning of each term: allocation, absorption, and apportionment. Each has a different meaning, so you have to focus on their meaning, their concept, and when it a particular word is used, so you have to focus on these areas. Then thereafter you will get reapportionment, in which you have to understand how the reapportionment is done. You will understand what is the meaning of reapportionment. Only then you will able to solve how to apply the reapportionment and what are the various method of reapportionment. Sir will told you Sir will tell you in the later session about these concepts. Ishwarya, yeah, material in portal is applicable for now. It is applicable for study material is applicable for September 26 also. I already said, if there is any changes, or if there is any release of new edition, you will be updated on the BS Knowledge portal. For now, it is applicable for May 26 and the September 26 also. But you will visit BS Knowledge portal once in a while to see if there is a release of any new edition. Okay, Aishwarya? Any other doubt, students?
So, sir,
So
I
we
think
can
we
leave
can
the
close this
we
session.
can leave
Yeah.
the
So, thank you, students. Just a small request. Kindly solve questions from our study mat relating to primary, where the questions are primary, secondary, both. You can solve the first part. And in the next class, we will study the next interesting part in this topic, that is how to do secondary distribution, that is charging the service department expenses to the production departments. So thank you, students. It was a great, once again, interactive session with all your involvements and your prompt answers that made it even more engaging. So thank you. Thank you, Manish ji. Thank you, Mayank ji, everyone. Good day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful session. Thank you, students. Yeah. Yes, yes. Done.
Sir, good day. Good day. Bye.